Hello everyone, welcome to Academy of Civil Service. My name is Anand Ramaputran and today we're going to talk about asteroid and comet. You must have already heard about asteroids. You must have definitely heard so many stories regarding the doomsday, the Earth ending, an asteroid colliding with Earth and ending the life. Like certain news articles also comes in internet, like saying the NASA released a report saying an asteroid is zooming past Earth, it flew this much closer, so many things, right? Anyway, in today's video, we're not going to talk about the stories, rather we are going to talk about this topic from the perspective of your exam. Now at the end of this video, you will be able to solve the previous question that has been asked by APSC related with this topic. Now before going to the video, let's take a look at that previous question. And here this question was asked in 2011. What is the difference between asteroid and comet, right? So this question is regarding, as I said, the difference between asteroid and comet. There are three statements given here. Now just pause the video and try to solve this question by yourself. You can read regarding asteroid and comet and try to solve this question, right? Now at the end of the video, we'll solve this question again and I will tell you what is the answer. Now without wasting much time, let's start. First, we'll discuss asteroids. Now asteroids, they are airless rocky objects. Much like the Earth, the planet Earth, you must be able to see the rocks everywhere on the Earth. Like this, the asteroids are also made up of rock. Now unlike Earth, the asteroids don't have any atmosphere. So they are airless rocky objects. You can imagine asteroids as the leftover from the planet formation, right? When all the planets formed, certain debris were left over, and those leftover airless rocky objects, we call it as asteroid. Now asteroid belt is between Mars and Jupiter. This asteroid belt, there are certain regions in our solar system, right? As you can see here, between Mars and Jupiter, we have the asteroid belt. So in the entire solar system, these asteroids are mainly concentrated in this region between Mars and Jupiter, right? Now you must have heard about certain news regarding the asteroids colliding with Earth, which is actually true. Sometimes the asteroids wanders off away from this asteroid belt. So if I'm telling you, asteroids are mainly found between planet Mars and Jupiter, it's correct. Their keyword there is mainly, right? So if another statement, if I'm saying asteroids are only found between Mars and Jupiter, the keyword there is only. In that sense, the statement is wrong. Okay, so this is the asteroid belt. You can see the most of the asteroids, or mainly they are concentrated between Mars and Jupiter. It's more like a donut, right? At the center there is a hole, like we have the sun. Around that we have a belt of asteroid where most of the asteroids are concentrated. This region we call it as asteroid belt. There are two important asteroids, the name of which you need to remember, one Ceres and Vesta. These are the first and second largest asteroids. Ceres is also called as the dwarf planet, and Ceres is the only dwarf planet which is outside the, which is inside the solar system. Every larger dwarf planets are outside the planet Neptune, like near say Pluto, it's outside Neptune. Same way those regions we have the other dwarf planet, but the asteroid, this asteroid Ceres, it's large. It's the diameter is around 970 kilometers. It's the largest asteroid and it is located in the asteroid belt, and Ceres is also considered as a dwarf planet. Right? Now these are the details regarding the asteroid. You have to remember that they are airless rocky objects and they are mainly found between Mars and Jupiter. And the two important asteroid name you have to remember, Ceres as well as Vesta. Next, comet. So comet, they are mainly composed of ice and gas. Now before going to the explanation, let's consider an example. Now imagine you are taking a bowl full of water, like a vessel full of water, and you're putting some sand and gravel into it, right? And you're keeping this inside the refrigerator, right, inside the freezer. After some 3 hours, you'll be able to see that the water has been frozen, right? It has frozen, and if you take out that the ice from inside the vessel, now it's in a solid state. And you can see that the sand or the gravel or the smaller rock pieces, they're not falling down, rather they stay intact within that ice. So this I can tell you, the ice is holding together the sand and gravel. Okay, now it's the same example, the analogy can be applied here. The comet means those regions, they are frozen the gases. Now when the gases are frozen, Okay, all the debris like the planetoids or the rock debris or some elements or metallic particles, like a lot of dust particles in the in the solar system, those dust particles will be trapped inside this frozen gas. Now imagine it as a large cloud of gas, not very large, like not like a larger solar system or anything, like at the size of probably a smaller asteroid. So inside this cloud of gases, the debris will be frozen. So the comet, they are made up of ice as well as dust. Now the ice is holding together the dust. Now they have larger orbit, like in the sense the asteroids, they are made up of rocky object. Now if you think about it, the asteroids, they're more closer to the sun, so they will be getting more energy from the sun. So can the can the gases freeze here? No. Like in the earlier example, if I'm taking out the the ice and I'm showing it to the sunlight, right, it will start melting. Okay, so it cannot freeze near the, if that region is getting more sunlight, the gases won't be able to freeze. Because of this reason, the comets are found away from the sun. Their orbits are much larger than all the other planets. Their orbit is much larger than the Neptune. You must have heard about important comet. The name is Halley's Comet. So the Halley's Comet, it takes around 74 years to complete the circulation. Now how much time does Earth take to complete one revolution around sun? Like 1 year, 365 and 1/4 days. Compared to that, the comet is taking around 74 years. So which one is more closer? Earth closer to sun or a comet's orbit closer to sun? Definitely the Earth is closer to the sun and the comet is far away from the sun. Okay, now since it is far away from the sun, it's getting less energy, like we are freezing it, right? There is no energy, so it will freeze. And while it is getting frozen, all the dust particles will be trapped inside this comet. So the comet, they are made up of ice and dust particles. At the same time, the asteroids are made up of rocky objects because they're near to the sun and they cannot, the gases cannot freeze. Rather, they will be evaporated off from the asteroid. And the comet is having the larger orbit also. Then, they two properties of comet, they have glowing head and tail. And we all must have seen pictures of pictures of comet, some lucky ones would be able to notice the comet in the night sky. I've never been able to see comet in the night sky, but there are pictures they will be moving around, and if you notice that, you will be able to see that it's kind of like a star is moving on the night sky. So it will be having a glowing head. Glowing means it's visible from the Earth because it's glowing, and it will be having a tail also, right? Like in this picture, you can see here, this is the glowing head and here we'll be having a tail. Okay, so likewise the two body parts of the comet, they are the tail as well as head. It will be having an inside core part, then outside layer of atmosphere, then we have the tail. Actually there are three parts, but you don't need to remember the three classifications. UPSC will never ask how many parts are there in a comet. They will never ask you that. Okay, now as seen in this picture, when this frozen object is coming towards the sun, they'll be getting more energy from the sun. Now the energy coming from the sun, they are charged particles, like ions. They can push, right? Now imagine the sun is blowing away or giving out energy which is moving like air, right? Moving like pushing, okay, like a fan. Now if sun is in a fan, you'll be able to see that the energy is blowing against the comet's movement. So what happens is that the comet will start melting, right? The earlier analogy, the example, if the ice, we are showing it to the sunlight, it will melt. Now if the ice melts, all the debris inside the ice will start falling down, right? The same way, if the sun is blowing towards the comet, the gases will start vaporizing. Now this vaporizing gas, what we see as the head of a tail, the head of a comet. So this glowing, the gases are being vaporized, and we see it as, or we perceive it as, the head of a comet, right? Now when the gases are, the frozen gases, when they are vaporized off, now all the debris, they will start falling down. Now this debris, they will be moving away from the sun. So the tail of a comet, as seen in this picture, will be facing away from the sun, as well as we'll be having a glowing head. Now let's take a look at another picture showing the tail of a comet. So here in this picture, you can see that the comet is having an elliptical orbit, it's having a larger orbit. At one point it will be closer to the sun, at the other point it will be far away from the sun. So when it is far away from the sun, that we cannot see them because it's not getting vaporized. But as they approach the sun, there will be more energy coming from the sun. With this energy, the gases will vaporize. We see it as the glowing head, and the debris will be falling away from the sun, and the tail will always be facing away from the sun. So there are two reasons why the tail of a comet is facing away from the sun. The first reason is this energy coming from the sun, which is called as solar wind. We are not going to that part. Just imagine it as the energy coming in from the sun and the sun is pushing. Now the second reason is what we call it as centrifugal force. Now to understand this, suppose if I'm taking a rock, right, I'm tying one end of a thread on this rock and I'm holding the other end, I'm spinning it, right? So if I'm spinning this and if I leave my hand, right, the stone will not hit my hand. While I'm spinning, right, I'm pulling the stone towards my hand. That's why it's able to spin around me, right? But as soon as I leave the hand, it will not hit me. I was pulling it towards me, right? It should be coming towards me. No, rather the stone will go away from my hand, away from the center. Same way, when the debris they are released from the comet, they'll be falling away from the sun. Okay, so there are two reasons why the tail of a comet is away from the sun. The first reason is the energy coming from the sun is pushing. Okay, this vaporizes the comet, and the gases will be released and the debris will be left over. These debris are pushed away from the sun, the first reason. Now the second reason is the centrifugal force. The comets are revolving around the sun, much like that rock. So if the debris are falling, the debris will not go towards the center. Rather, the debris will be moving away from the sun due to the centrifugal force. So the first reason, energy from the sun. The second reason is the solar wind. Now because of these reasons, the tail of a comet will always be facing away from the away from the sun. So larger orbit, it has glowing head and tail always away from the sun. And Halley's comet is a famous comet. It visits Earth around 74 years. So every 74 years it's on its orbit, it will be coming closer to the sun. So the sun's energy will be vaporizing this, and from Earth we are able to see it. You will be able to see this tail, there is a glowing head and tail is moving much like this image you can see here. It will be moving like that on a night sky. Now these are the details regarding the asteroid and comet. Now let's see, let's solve the previous question that has been asked from this topic. Now suppose you have found out the answer, right? So please post a comment regarding what is the answer and whether you got it correct or not. Okay, now let's start the explanation. So there are three statements, as I said, what is the difference between the asteroid and comet. The first statement, asteroids are smaller rocky planetoid, while comets are formed of frozen gases held together by the rocky and metallic material. Now, the first half of the statement is correct. The asteroids are rocky planetoid. Planetoid means the planetary objects, the debris. They all can be. Comet is a planetoid, an asteroid is a planetoid, or a meteor or meteorite. All of them, they are planetoids, right? So they are the leftover objects from the planet formation. So the first half of this statement till this comma, which is correct. Asteroids are small rocky planetoids, while comets are formed of frozen gases held together by rocky and metallic material. Now let's go back to that example. Earlier I told you regarding ice cap. We keeping the the water to freeze inside the refrigerator. When I'm taking out the ice, the debris will not fall down, right? But if you're keeping in the sunlight, the debris will fall down. But if it's not, melting is not taking place, it will not fall down. Now let's if I'm saying this, the ice is holding together the debris, the first statement, true or false? True. Okay. But if I'm saying it otherwise, the debris, the sand and gravel is holding together the ice. What do you think? Is that correct or not? It's wrong. Now I read this statement again. While comets are formed of frozen gases, which is correct, held together by rocky and metallic material. Are the rocky and metallic material holding together the frozen gases? No. Here the key word here is held together. Okay. Now if I'm changing this word held together into holding together the rocky and metallic material, then the statement would have been correct. Okay, so here in the first statement is wrong because of this keyword given here, held together. Once again, just read the statement. Asteroids are small rocky planetoid, while comets are formed of frozen gases held together by rocky and metallic material, which is wrong, right? So the first statement is wrong and you got the answer. You don't have to read the second and third statement, you got the answer. Right? You might think, what am I saying, right? Now look at the options. Now here the first option 1 and 2 only, the B option 1 and 3 only, the third C option 3 only, and the D option 1, 2 and 3. It's not visible here, 1, 2 and 3. Now if you look at it, D option is having 1 in it, B option is also having 1 in it, as well as the first option A is also having 1 in it. So the first statement is wrong. So the correct answer cannot have the 1 in it. Okay, so you can eliminate A, B as well as D, and straight away you are getting the answer as 3 only. Right? The third statement, comets show a perceptible glowing tail while asteroids do not. Only the comet is having the tail. Because why? Because those tail is formed of the vaporized gases. Now the asteroids, they are much closer to the sun and the gases cannot be frozen. They are like, we won't be able to see tail, or a visible tail won't be there for an asteroid. For that reason, the third statement is correct here. Now again, the second statement is wrong. You don't have to go through it. But again, let's see what is the second statement. Asteroids are found mostly between orbits of Jupiter and Mars, which is correct, while comets are found mostly between Venus and Mercury. I didn't tell you anything regarding the orbit of the comet. Now without knowing it, without knowing whether the comet is having an orbit or not, the second part of the statement, true or not, the comets are found mostly between Venus and Mercury. Right? Now think about the logic, why this statement is wrong, or how, when you're writing this exam, when you see such kind of question, right, how will you be able to understand whether this statement is wrong or not? We have already seen what is asteroid and comet. With that knowledge is enough for you to understand this statement is wrong. The reason is Venus and Mercury, they're the first and second planet. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, like that it goes. So the first and second planet, they will be receiving more energy from the sun. Then how can the gases freeze near the sun, which is not possible? Okay, because of that reason, the orbit, or the statement, the second part of this second statement here is wrong. Okay, anyway, here the answer comes out as 3 only. Here only the third statement is correct. So the 3 statement question and the number of statement increases, we might think the question becomes more and more tougher. It's actually otherwise. The more the statements we have, we have a better shot at making that answer correct, because nobody is asking you, did you get the answer after knowing all the 3 statements? Nobody is asking you that, right? They are only concerned about whether you are able to find the answer and they clear the exam or not. So just by applying your common sense, and by applying the clear concepts, you will be able to notice that the first statement is wrong, and you will be able to eliminate and get the answer. So please follow this method when you're solving the previous questions as well as any other question. Try to apply the elimination method, and your probability of clearing the exam will tremendously will increase. I hope you like this video and the concept regarding asteroid and comet. I hope it's clear to you. Now if you like the video, please like the video as well as share it among your friends, and if you dislike it, please feel free to press the dislike button and let us know why you didn't like it. Now keep up with your preparation, stay very dedicated and committed to your your dream, and I hope all of you will achieve all your dreams. Be the best, be the change.